about something. I know we've talked a lot about Yandere characters before, and I've always kind of laughed it off like it's just a weird thing in shows that doesn't really mean anything. But recently, I've been feeling like there's something deeper there that I need to acknowledge. Maybe it's something I've been too shy to admit to myself, let alone to you. But the truth is, I can't stop thinking about it, and it's kind of eating me up inside, honestly. You know how I've always been drawn to those kinds of characters in shows. The obsessive, protective ones who would do anything for the person they love, even if it means pushing others away, crossing boundaries, or acting in ways that are a little, well, intense. At first, I always thought it was just a fun trope, something to laugh at because it was so exaggerated and over the top. But I think I might have a bit of a thing for them, and I don't know if that makes sense, or if it even sounds a little weird. But it's true. There's just something about it. The intensity, the passion, the unwavering devotion. It's almost thrilling. I think it's the way these characters want to be there for the person they care about, no matter what. They'll stop at nothing to protect them, to keep them safe, and to make sure that no one gets in the way of their love. I know it's a bit much, and it's definitely unhealthy when you look at it from a realistic perspective. But there's something undeniably powerful about the concept of someone loving you that much. The idea that they would never leave you, never abandon you, no matter what happens. It sounds kind of strange when I say it out loud, doesn't it? But honestly, I think I find it comforting, in a way. Maybe it's the idea of having someone in my life who would always be there, who would protect me with everything they've got, who would want to keep me close, to make sure I'm happy and safe. Even if their love might be a little possessive or obsessive, the idea of someone wanting to be there for me like that, it's kind of reassuring. It's like they wouldn't stop at anything to ensure that I'm okay, that I'm loved, that I'm always a priority. I guess part of me has always longed for that kind of love, that kind of security. It might sound a little crazy, but I think I'd really like to be loved like that. To be someone's number one, to have them so invested in my happiness and well-being that they'd go to any lengths to keep me safe and protected. Someone who would always be by my side, always wanting to be near me, no matter what. It's like the ultimate form of loyalty, right? That kind of unwavering devotion is something I can't help but be drawn to, even if it's a little extreme. I know this probably sounds strange to you, especially since we've always joked about the Yandere trope in anime and TV shows. We've laughed about how ridiculous it is, and how over the top some of those characters are. But the more I think about it, the more I realize there's something in the way they express their love that feels kind of, I don't know, exciting. Even though it's fictional, it taps into something deep within me, something that I didn't even realize I was craving. It's that sense of being wanted, of being cherished, to the point that someone is willing to go to extremes for you. I mean, isn't there something kind of alluring about that kind of devotion? It's funny, because I never really thought I'd be into something like this. I've always been the type of person who just goes with the flow, who doesn't get too caught up in overly dramatic or intense situations. But every time I watch something with a Yandere character, there's something about it that keeps me coming back. It's the passion, the obsession, the total commitment. It's hard to explain, but there's an undeniable pull. And I guess that's why I've been thinking about it so much lately. The idea of someone loving you that much, to the point where they'd protect you from everything and everyone, where they would never leave you. There's something so powerful about it. I know it might sound strange or even a little unsettling, but I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And you're the only person I feel comfortable enough to talk to about it. I don't expect you to understand completely, but I had to tell you. I just had to get it off my chest. I find strangely captivating. Maybe that's why I've always been drawn to you in a way I can't quite explain. There's always been something about the way you carry yourself, the way your presence makes everything feel safe. I know you're a little intense sometimes, a little possessive, but it's not like I mind. In fact, sometimes I wonder if it's exactly what I need. You've always been so protective of me, always looking out for me. And I don't know if I've ever really told you, but I find that comforting. There's something about knowing that you're the kind of person who would go to any lengths to make sure I'm okay. Maybe it sounds strange, but it's like I don't have to worry about anything because you'll take care of it for me. I guess, in a way, I've always kind of liked that about you. Maybe I've even come to depend on it without realizing it. Maybe that's why I'm telling you this now, because I trust you. You've always been there for me in ways that I didn't even know I needed. Sometimes it's in big ways, sometimes in small ones, but you're always there, always, even when I didn't know how much I needed someone like you. You've been protective, sure, maybe a little too much at times, but I've always felt safe with you, and that's why it feels so natural in some ways to share this with you. To open up and say something I've been thinking for a while. Honestly, it's kind of embarrassing to admit it out loud. I don't usually talk about my feelings like this, but I really feel like I can share anything with you. It's like I've built up this trust with you over time, and now it feels easier to just let it all out. I don't know if you're into that kind of thing, or if this makes any sense to you, but I just thought I'd tell you how I feel. Maybe it's strange, but I've been thinking about how you care so much about me, about how you always want to make sure I'm happy, that I'm taken care of. That means something to me, you know? It's not just that you're there for me, but the way you're there, like you actually want to be there, as if you have this need to make sure I'm okay, like it's your personal mission to keep me safe, to keep me happy. And I don't know, it reminds me of those characters in stories, those devoted, protective figures. You know, the ones who are willing to go to great lengths to make sure their loved ones are never in harm's way. There's something about that that really resonates with me. It's not that I want to be controlled, or that I want you to become someone you're not, but there's something undeniably comforting in the way you look out for me, in the way you make sure I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. And yeah, maybe you're a little intense about it, but sometimes that's just kind of sweet. Maybe I'm just drawn to the way you care. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way you've always been there for me, in ways big and small, the way you look out for me, even when I didn't ask for it. There's something about it that just feels right. It's like you do anything for me, and that kind of devotion, even though it might sound a little overwhelming, honestly, it feels good. It makes me feel safe, and safe is something I've never really been good at feeling until now. You make it so easy to trust, to believe that everything will be okay, no matter what. I know it might sound crazy, or maybe you think I'm a little weird for admitting this to you, but I don't know. It feels nice, like finally telling someone a secret you've been holding on to for so long. I don't expect you to change, or to act differently because of what I'm saying. I'm not asking for anything to be different. I just needed to get it off my chest. Needed you to know how I feel, even if it's a little out there, even if it's a little unconventional. I guess I kind of like the idea of someone being as devoted to me as a Yandere would be. And I know that's not exactly the healthiest thing to admit, but that's the truth. That's how I feel. And I trust you enough to tell you this, even if it's a little embarrassing. I think that's why it feels so good to finally admit it out loud, to say it, even if I'm not entirely sure what to do with these feelings. So, there you have it. That's how I feel, and I don't really know what comes next. this out. And honestly, I don't think I'd feel comfortable telling anyone else. You've always been the one I've trusted the most, and I guess that's why I'm sharing this with you. I just wanted to let you know. That's all. And whatever happens next, I'm just glad you're here with me.